Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari and this is my September TBR. So first off, you'll probably notice there's a different background here. Yes, I will explain all of that in Saturday's video. It was just taking a little bit longer to do than I thought I was going to. And so I'm doing this first. We're gonna do the September TBR before September starts. So for this month, we're doing something a little bit different. I have got my regular Dungeons & Books TBR, but we're also doing Bookoplathon for Becca's Bookopoly, which is a readathon that's happening in September. You use a board and you pick your own TBR playing a game. So I'm going to do both in this video, 5 rolls each, at least to start out. Both games have the ability for doubles, but let's start out with Bookoplathon and then do my Dungeons & Books. Bookopoly time. So 5 rolls on Bookopoly, let's get into those rolls. Roll number 1, as you saw, it's a chance card. So because this is just a month-long thing and I'm not going to go through all of the chance cards, I didn't use all 16 prompts. I did 6 total. 4 of them were the 4 arcs that I need to read this month, and then 2 of them were like older books on my TBR that I don't really have a desire to read. And of course I picked one of the older books on my TBR that I don't really have a desire to read, which is Gift of the Hadderberg? I don't know how to say that. This is based off of the Banner Saga video game. I got it. This is probably the oldest book on my physical TBR, honestly. It's not very long. It's fantasy. I'll probably like it because I like the Banner Saga game, but for some reason, I just never picked this up to read it. So, here we go. Roll number 2 was published before 1999. All of the books I need to read this month are like brand new releases. So we're gonna have to dig back in this. I was looking at my TBR shelf. I don't really have a whole, like, anything that I could tell that was published before, like, even like 2014, much less before 1999. So that's not correct at all. But then I thought, I read Forgotten Realms books all the time and most of those are old. So let's read a Forgotten Realms book except for not Forgotten Realms. We're gonna continue on with Dragonlance. Editing me interrupting. Do I edit in the exact same spot wearing the exact same clothes that I just filmed in like 10 minutes ago? You betcha. But in order to condense this TBR down from what it is, because it's getting kind of long, I realized that there is another book on this TBR that you haven't seen yet because editing magic, I guess, that was written well before 1999. So this, not on my TBR in this spot. Instead, we're gonna read The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. This was published in the 1960s. So you'll see it in a few minutes as part of the Dungeons & Books TBR part, but it's a thick boy, so I want to use it for both TBRs if possible. And now back to your regularly scheduled me. Prompt number 3 is favorite trope. My favorite trope is the unlikable female character, and there's a series that I know has an unlikable female character because I'm like 4 books deep in it, so let's continue that series. And for that, I'm going to read War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. The main character in here is kind of an unlikable female. I like her a lot, and I really like this series. It is fantasy romance. I'm not even going to try to explain it to you because by the time you get to this point in the series, the first book has nothing to do with anything. So, I'm going to read this. The next prompt was color wheel, so I'm going to use my phone and do a random color generator instead of an actual color wheel because I have a random color generator on here. So randomly pick a color. Focus here. We're going to go right here, and this is our randomly generated color. It's like a purple. Let me see if I can find a cover with this color in it. This is the color. This is the book that I found that matches this color. I think it matches pretty damn well, if I do say so myself, and it's very much that color. So we're gonna read Plum Lovin', which is a Between the Numbers book from Janet Ivanovich. And roll number 5, no doubles. I got a multiple perspective POV. For this one, I am going to finish off a series, which is Rule of Wolves by Lee Bardugo. This is the last book in the Kingdom of Scars duology, or King of Scars duology, that's what it is. And I need to read this for the Goodreads choice last year, finishing off those books. This was on there, this one for young adult fantasy, and I hadn't read anything but Six of Crows. So I read that whole series this year. This is the last one. Basically, I know this is multiple perspective because I read the first book in the series, so it was a very easy choice of like knowing it was multiple perspective. So, Rule of Wolves. Second game, Dungeons of Books. Roll number 1, right off, we've got arc. I have 4 arcs that I need to read this month, so the one that I am going to choose for this is the Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. I don't know what this is about, but it is young adult, potentially even middle grade, and it's in the vein of like Rick Riordan's writing, but with Aidan Thomas's own twist on it. So that is my arc. One of 4, but that's the one that's going in this slot. Roll number 2, The Jar of Doom. Jar of Doom. Y'all know what that is. It's hanging out right over here. This is just... everything in this jar is older books on my TBR. So I just plop my little fingies in here, and I'm gonna pull out a book and I'm gonna read it. This hasn't been updated, so I may have to pull a couple times if I've already read the book. So let's do this, which is All the Birds in the Sky. I don't even know if you could see this. Probably not. You just have to take my word for it that it's All the Birds in the Sky, and I read that last month. So, this one. This is Invisible Man. Let me get that book. So this is a novel by Ralph Ellison, written in, I want to say, the 60s. And it is about being black in 1960s America. So, as a nice chunky boy, this is the second book on our TBR. Prompt number 3 for Dungeons of Books is an anthology or short story collection. So for this one, I'm kind of twisting the prompt, but not really. I'm going to read another arc of it, which is the Tao of Dritz. So this is basically, if you've read the Dritz books, every part, not every chapter, but every part of the book starts with a like diary or journal entry from Dritz, where he's just kind of like reflecting on what he's learned. I believe this is just taking all of those journal entries over multiple Dritz books and then putting them in one location. So while it's not really like an anthology or short story collection, it is a lot of just individual journal entries, and I don't think anything new is in here. I think this is from a bunch of different books. So I'm going to consider it an anthology because it is from a lot of different books, or it's like excerpts from a lot of different books. It's my game. I can do what I want. Next prompt was author with the middle initial. There we go. So for that, that's, I hope, kind of straightforward. Like, a lot of authors just write with their name. So we got like Samantha Shannon, whatever. Some authors will put like a middle initial in their book, right? So Jennifer L. Armentrout is a great example because she's the author I'm reading from. I'm going to read War of Two Queens for this prompt. This is the 4th book in the Blood of Ash, I think. It's the one that came out this year. I haven't got around to reading it yet, so now is my time to shine, and I'm gonna read this. The last prompt, no doubles this month, yay, is going to be series. So for a series, I'm gonna not cheat, but kind of cheat. I've been doing the Brandon Sanderson reread of the Mistborn series, and I am on book 5, which is Shadows of Self. I'm gonna put the cover here because I don't have the physical book in front of me right now. But yes, Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson will be my book, my series book for this month. If you were reading along with me, here you go. Shadows of Self is the book 2 of Wax and Wane, and this is what we're gonna be reading this month. All right, from there, let's do our jars. I also have not updated the jars, so I've got things that should be in here that aren't. I don't think I'll pull anything that I shouldn't. So let's start with series, see what series I'm continuing in this month. Let's do this one. Oh no. Whatever this one is, it shot into my coffee and it is ruined, so I'm gonna have to figure that out later and replace it. But this is the Great Library series. Let me grab the next book. So book 2 in the Great Library series is Paper and Fire. Ink and Bone was the first book. I'm obviously on book 2 since this is the one I'm holding up. But yes, this is what I'm going to read. This is youngest adult dystopian, where the Great Library of Alexandria never burned down. And it's created this like dystopian society run by these like magical librarians. So it matches my hair. All right, and then audiobook. We're all stuck together. Let's go in with a different one. Okay, I've got like 3 or 4 here. I'm gonna pull this one and we're gonna read this. The Dead Are Arising is what this is. I don't know what that is about. So The Dead Are Arising, I thought it was a horror. It is not. This is not a horror book, guys. This is a biography about Malcolm X. So this is what we're gonna read this month, a biography about Malcolm X. There you go. And that is everything. I've got some pretty chunky books on my TBR. I've got these, plus Rule of Wolves is gonna be chunky. Shadow of Self isn't chunky, but it is a high fantasy. And then I've got 4 arcs on top of all of this. And my Read Your Haul, which I haven't picked out a book for yet. So, beautiful, beautiful. We got lots to read in September. Wish me luck, and I'll see you Saturday to explain where I've been in the new background.